A very good day to all of you. Today we are going to talk about making inferences and drawing conclusions. In academic reading and writing, we have learned a few topics on reading skills such as skimming and scanning, um, making main ideas and supporting details, and contextual clues. And now we're going to talk about making inferences and drawing conclusions. So when we say make an inference, that means an inference is an early conclusion, and conclusion is the final conclusion. So when you make an inference, it means you make a logical conclusion that is made based on what you have observed, based on your assumptions, based on what you can see. But when you say make a conclusion, so conclusion is a step after making an inference. So when you make a conclusion, you make a conclusion based on a thoughtful consideration from what you have read. So normally, as a simple example, let's say when we are sitting at a bus stop and someone is coming over to us, so when that person is approaching closer and closer, the first step in our mind is we make an inference. So we take a look at that person, the face, the attire, the outfit, and then we make an inference saying that this person could be a nice person. So once the person has approached us and talked to us, for example, if that person asks for a donation, and then we take a look at all the documents, we ask the questions, where are you from, and what is the donation for, and then in the end, we say this person is not telling the truth. So in the end, we make a conclusion that this person cannot be trusted. So when we made an inference, we make an early conclusion based on our assumption. So when we draw the conclusion, it is based on the details that we have had from the discussion or from what we have read if we are reading an article, for example. So if we take a look at the headline of this news from the internet, so it says that don't worry, there is enough food for everyone, says PM amid the COVID-19 virus. So what inference can you make based on the headline or based on this news? So based on the news, we can make an inference that yes, there is enough food for everyone. So that means there are a lot of food in the country. So everyone, we have enough food, and the supply is enough to serve for everyone in the country. But what conclusion can we make? So we can make a conclusion that, so conclusion is what is not written here. So when we make an inference, it is our inference, our assumption is based, our early conclusion is based on what is given. But what is not given here is that when the Prime Minister says, don't worry, there is enough food for everyone, so that means the Prime Minister wants everyone to be calm and wants the country to be under control so that people won't go for panic buying. So that is what is behind what is mentioned. So that means the inference is food is enough for everyone, but the conclusion that we can make is the government wants the people to stay calm, and the government wants to be able to control the people and the country well in times of emergency. So that is the conclusion. So inference is what we can see, is assumption based on what we can see, and conclusion is what is beyond we can see, beyond what is given. So when you make an inference, you'll have to understand the text, what the text is all about, by using clues from the text and also from the from what you already know about the matter, your personal belief, your experiences, your assumptions. And when you make a conclusion, you read between the lines. So that means it is not given there, but you think of a hidden agenda or the main reason. The article was written by the author. So what would be the main reason? So when you ask the question, why was this article written? So that would be the question to answer for the conclusion. So let us take a look at a few examples of making inferences and drawing conclusions. So let's say when I say Betty sees cake crumbs on the floor and around her daughter's mouth. So what inference can you make based on this sentence? So we could say that inference is from what is given. Assumption that we can make based on what we can see from the situation here. So we can say that Betty's daughter has eaten the cake. But what could be the conclusion? So conclusion is what we cannot see. Conclusion is beyond what we can see. So what could be the conclusion? So we could say that the conclusion could be Betty's daughter is or was really hungry. Or we could also say the cake was very delicious. Or we could also say Betty's daughter was really young, and that is why she couldn't eat properly. So those could be the conclusion. Another example, let's say John returned from the mall to find his room enveloped in smoke, and there were some burned peppers on the floor. So what inference can we make based on this situation? So inference is an early conclusion based on our assumption, based on what is given. So we could say that perhaps someone has burned the peppers in John's room when he was away. So what conclusion can we make? So the inference is someone could have burned the peppers in John's room when he was away, but what could be the conclusion? So the conclusion is what we cannot see. The conclusion is the hidden agenda, or something that is hidden, something that is beyond what we can see. So we could say that John has an enemy. We could also say the peppers could be some evidence. That is why it was burned. John could be someone related to a court case. So it could be a lawyer, could be someone attending a court hearing, so that that was why the evidence were burned in his room. So someone broke into his house. Next example, a woman walks into the school completely soaked and it was raining. So what inference can we make based on this situation? So inference is what we can see. So we could see that the woman, she does not have an umbrella, of course. But what could be the conclusion? So we could say that she was in a hurry to school, so that is why without an umbrella she still go through the rain to reach to the school. Maybe she is picking her kids at school and she was already late, or she has or had a class and she is already late. So those could be the conclusion. Last example, Sarah exercises 20 hours a week. So what inference can we make? She is a gym freak, someone who likes to go to the gym, maybe. The conclusion, what we cannot see from the situation, could be she is preparing for a competition, or maybe she is trying to lose weight. So that would be the conclusion. So when we are reading, we'll have to always be careful, and then we'll have to always make an inference or make inferences and draw conclusions, so that we will not be cheated and will not be manipulated. So if we take a look at the advertisement down here, for example, the advertisement down here was claimed to be to have overclaimed the ability or the benefit of the product. For example, it says that this cream or this gel contains a highly effective natural bioslim complex for a slimmer looking and more defined silhouette. So if we make an inference, we would say that, well, the advertisement looks simple but perhaps elegant. Looks like a nice product with a nice packaging, but when we make a conclusion, when we think about it, when we think beyond what is given, we would say that how is it possible for a cream, for a bottle of cream, to make a slimmer? So that is the conclusion. So we could conclude that there's something wrong with the claim of the product. So that means when we read something, when we watch an advertisement, what we do is we make a conclusion, we make an inference, and then we make a conclusion so that we will not be cheated and manipulated. So we think and we ask the question why and how. So that is about it, making inference and drawing conclusions. See you in the next video. Thank you very much.